Anybody that's ever done a high stakes interview or a media appearance knows the feeling of that surge of energy or that heart pounding that you get when you hear the words, "You're on." Stay tuned on Moxie Talk. We are going to discuss everything you need to know for an actual media appearance. Hi everyone, I'm Fia Fastfinder and welcome to Moxie Talk, where we help you find your voice, share your message, and lead with confidence. Today we're talking about how to actually deliver your media appearance. Now this is part 2 of a 2-part series. Part 1 focused on how to actually prepare for your media appearance. Now today we're focusing on everything you need to know to actually give that interview or deliver that media appearance. And once you do, you'll know that you've done it with confidence and that you can walk out of that room with your head held high. So first of all, if you're going to be on camera, it's important to consider what to wear. And I did an entire video on tips and tricks for camera appearance called How to Look Your Best. So I'm not going to spend too much time on media apparel other than knowing that there is definitely a certain way you need to dress to be on camera. And I will have so many clients actually text me pictures of their outfits and I help them choose which one will look best on camera versus which one will look best in a boardroom or on a stage because they are completely different. So if you're going to be on camera, make sure to check out that video. It's really important that you set yourself up for success by looking your best on that media appearance. Speaking of setting yourself up for success, some baseline things to consider, like being sure to arrive early for any media appearance. If it's remote, log on early. Preparation is the #1 way to ensure that you're coming across as polished, professional, and confident. And let's face it, there is nothing worse than that frenzied feeling of knowing that you're going to arrive someplace late because there was an accident or there's unexpected traffic or your technology is not working if it's remote. So set yourself up for success by making sure you get there early so you can avoid that frenzied feeling. Because on the flip side of that, there's nothing better than arriving someplace early enough to give yourself a few minutes to take some deep breaths, calm yourself, focus yourself. Now, if you're thinking, take some deep breaths, I don't know how to do that, and you're curious about the benefits of deep breathing and how to do it, check out my previous video on diaphragmatic breathing. It is what I call a power tool in your speaker toolbox, not only for the benefits of what it does for your voice and giving you a powerful voice, even if you're mic'd, but especially what it does to calm, focus, and center you. So watch the video, make sure you're familiar with deep breathing, arrive early enough that you can take some deep breaths and you can get yourself ready and prepared for the interview. Maybe even do a quick visualization and run through the interview in your head. So once you arrived early, you're prepared, you're feeling grounded and focused, the interview is ready to begin. Remember, this is really important. You control the moment. You control the interview. It's absolutely natural to feel nervous. It's even natural to feel a little anxious before a media appearance, especially if it's high stakes, especially if you're less comfortable on camera than you are in person. One of my favorite quotes by Mark Twain is, "There are 2 types of speakers, those that are nervous and those that are liars." Everybody gets nervous. The key is to channel that nervous energy into usable energy so the nerves don't derail your interview. One of the techniques that helps my clients feel calmer about this interview is to remember that it is just a conversation with another human being. They are human beings, and a human being that's going to help you get your message across to a much broader audience than you could reach on your own. I am a firm believer that every audience wants three things. They want to learn something and learn it from you because you're the subject matter expert. They want to be entertained, so tell some stories, have some fun in the interview. And they absolutely want you to do well. Even the most harsh interviews, they want it to go well because their ratings depend on it. So the more natural and conversational and at ease you can be, the better. But I get it. This is much easier said than done. I know, it never helps to tell people to just relax, right? This is why I mentioned my breathing video earlier. I have seen speakers that can't sleep for days before an interview learn the breathing techniques to help them calm, help them focus, and have them give a successful interview. One of the keys here on how to calm nerves is really your mindset. And changing your mindset can make you feel so much better about this upcoming interview. One thing to remember and to repeat to yourself over and over that will help you steer the interview in the right direction is that you were asked to do the media appearance because you are the subject matter expert. You can provide valuable insight. You were chosen to do this appearance because people need to hear your message. The interview is not about if listeners like you or not. It's not about that getting likes on social media. It's about this audience understanding and resonating with your message. If you can get your message across in a clear, concise, and confident way, you can leave that interview with your head held high. And if you messed up a couple of times, who cares? If your message got across, that is really what matters. Now, with that in mind, if you feel that the interview has gone off topic or gone in a different direction, you need to politely get the interview back on track in your own words. Remember, you control the moment. You control the interview. So what gives you control of the interview? Making sure that it's framed and ensuring that you say what you intended to say and what you actually practiced to say too. So if you want your audience to know certain things and you feel like the interview is going in the wrong direction, you get it back on track. Now, how do you do that? There are certain techniques when answering questions that will help you get the interview back on track. But before we talk about those, I want to let you know that it is important to answer promptly and be honest to the point. A great technique is to repeat or incorporate the interview's question so you have a perfect soundbite once it's edited. So let me clarify what I mean by prompt. It's never a good idea to rush into an answer and then say something you didn't mean to say, but it's also not a good idea to have a super long pause before you answer. This makes you look unsure of what you're going to say. And if it is not pre-recorded, they can't take out those pauses. I've worked with so many TED speakers that have this deer in headlight moment that nobody sees because it gets cut out on the editing floor. But if it's a live interview, that's not going to happen. So to eliminate those super long pauses, check out our part 1 of our media appearance series on how to prepare for your media appearance. Rehearsal really does lead to confidence and knowing your stuff. But let's say you get asked a question that you didn't rehearse an answer for, that you weren't expecting. It's really okay to say you don't know the answer. Here's a few phrases you can use that are not just, I don't know. You can say something like, this isn't my area of expertise, or I'm not familiar with that, or I'm not sure. Let me look into that and follow up with you. Do not, whatever you do, say what we hear on all of these interviews with politicians, which is no comment. No comment implies that there's more to the story than you're willing to talk about, or likely you're hiding something. Instead, if you get asked a difficult question or a controversial question, take some deep breaths, try to remain calm, try not to get defensive, and deflect the question to get the conversation back on track. What do you say instead of no comment? Here are some ideas. We're looking into this and I'll have a response at a later time. Or instead of commenting on that, let me point out blank. That's an interesting question, but what we really should be asking is blank. And my personal favorite, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know blank. Or last but not least, let's not forget the underlying message of this interview. So these answers are all called bridging, and this is a strategy to redirect the conversation back to what you want to talk about, what you want to get out into the world, and it creates great sound bites if the interview is pre-recorded. And this is a great strategy for you to take control of the interview. Flagging is another strategy that great interviews have. And this is a technique where you answer difficult questions by actually pointing out what you want to talk about or flagging that information. So what you're doing really is adding emphasis to the key points of the topic. And it goes something like this. The bottom line here is, or the point I want to stress here is, along those same lines of flagging is asking the interview to clarify or repeat a question. It's much better to do this than to answer a question that wasn't asked. Last but not least, I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about your body language for this interview. So now we've talked about how to actually answer the questions and how to prepare for those questions. But body language makes a huge difference in how your audience perceives you. In fact, it makes more than half of the audience's perception of you is based on your body. So, of course, if this is audio only, you do not need to worry about your body language. But if you're doing an on-camera interview, it's important to pay attention to your nonverbal communication. I have covered confident body language techniques in several of my other videos. So if you want a deep dive into all things nonverbal, check out those videos. But here's a few pointers. First off, it's important to realize that the camera makes everything bigger. Sometimes, if it's a close-up shot, your face may be the size of someone's computer screen, or even their television screen. So even the tiniest, smallest eyebrow raise will show on camera. This is why film actors train in a completely different way than stage actors. So, with that in mind, make sure to smile when appropriate. Even if it's a serious topic, and even if you're simply thinking about something and your face drops, it comes across as unhappy or closed off or guarded, and your audience will definitely mirror that emotion. If you're not sure if you're smiling enough, record yourself and watch it back ahead of time so you know when your face drops and you know how you are appearing to your audience. If you have the habit of nodding your head to indicate understanding or shaking your head to indicate disagreement, this is distracting on camera, and your words can absolutely get those feelings across. A couple other things to consider. If it's a studio interview or a remote interview, make sure to have good posture and lean slightly forward towards the interview or towards the computer so that you appear open and confident. And if nothing else sticks with you from this interview, remember this: repetitive motion, whether it's tiny steps back and forth, or swaying side to side, or using repetitive hand gestures, these will all distract from your message. Instead, ground yourself by literally imagining that there are tree roots growing from the soles of your shoes into the ground, holding you in place. I have been known to duct tape my speakers' feet to the floor if they have these little spider feet so that they stay in place. But considering I'm not going to be there to duct tape your feet, just make sure you keep them on the floor, even if you're seated. There are studies that say that feeling your feet on the floor actually gives you confidence and has you release serotonin. Also, make a concerted effort if you're one of these people that does distracting hand gestures to just leave your hands by your side until you really must gesture. You might even consider making what I call a gesticular vocabulary, which means pre-planned gestures that you can use for certain phrases in your interview, like up and down, or past and future, or why. And make sure you hold your eye contact with the interview. Looking away when you're even thinking about an answer sends an unconscious message to your audience that you are not trustworthy. Now, I know if you're doing this interview remotely, looking into the computer camera or external camera is sometimes difficult, but it will make you appear as if you're looking directly at the interviewers. So make sure that your notes or anything you need are right under the camera. Last but not least, I know it's not easy to ace an interview or an media appearance, but these appearances are your time to shine. Remember that. It can lead to so many opportunities. So take the time to prepare, stay in control of the interview, feel confident, and know that you are the subject matter expert. I hope this video was valuable. If you found it to be valuable, make sure to like it or share it with a friend, and subscribe to our YouTube channel where there are so many more videos on how to prepare and deliver confident body language, breathing, everything you need to know to present with confidence. And if you're more interested in the Moxie Institute, check out our website, moxieinstitute.com. You can check out all of our classes, our trainings, and our other services. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.